Okay. All right. Sick. So today we have Clara, the lovely Clara. Clara, you and I have already, we've been friends for a while now because we've been working for upwards of 4 years now. But for those of you who don't know you, if you could please state your brand name, your position in the brand, and where you guys are at right now.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Clara, and I've had an e-commerce brand with my partner for about 4 years now, and our brand name is Dash. We started off as an Amazon business 4 years ago and expanded to our own store, so through Shopify. And our revenue is pretty much like 70-30 split, where 70% is with Shopify now, and then 30% is with Amazon. But yeah, it's grown pretty drastically. Right off the bat, it did well on Amazon, but just expanding to D2C has been a huge opportunity for us. And we have been working with Nikki since the very beginning, since literally like a few months into Dash. We had already used his services. So yeah, we became good friends and we still use his services today. Like literally a few weeks ago, my operations manager reached out to their team and they're working on some assets for us for some future stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's funny to think that, back when we first started working together, I think our team was like, half the size or so. I've throughout the last 4 years, we've grown not quite at your level, but we've expanded ourselves. And I'll let you speak to it, but I believe our quality has still maintained the same standard. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm really excited to chat here. I'm sure everybody's very excited to hear from you as well. So to get things rolling, so what did things look like before you actually reached out to the FBA studio? Like, how were you guys managing your creatives? What were your creatives? Where did you get them? Please elaborate on that side of things. Life before FBA studio.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I remember a time before FBA Studio. I feel like we launched our stuff with you guys because it was like May. No, we must have launched with another service, and it must have been with like a Fiverr company or a Fiverr person for photography and everything like that. But honestly, we had you guys as a recommendation from good friends of ours. And I really go off of recommendations. Like I like, doing services through people who have used people before, through agencies or whatever. But I don't remember anything before you guys. That's how great you guys are. I don't remember anything beforehand.
That's awesome. No problem at all. Like that's word of mouth though. That's the way to go 100%. Mm-hmm. I'd be curious to see who those friends are because I'll give them a nice high five. Cool. So given that we were involved in the early stages, how would you say that the FBA studio has contributed to Dash's success?
A lot, I would say. I think like when customers go to your listing, obviously the first thing that they're going through are your photos, the infographics, the FBA Studio does our entire listing from like the photos to the copy to the A+ content. So everything that the consumer sees is what FBA Studio makes for us. Right off the bat, we were able to do a couple 100,000 months already within that first year. And that was the year that we started using FBA Studio. So I think it's a huge deal. Like everything that, is displayed on our listing, obviously like the product itself, the features, the way that things are displayed, even like little things like the copy and SEO, everything that helps us with ranking too on Amazon is everything that the FBA Studio does. Like I wouldn't be able to do that on my own, nor would I be able to know how to source like other workers or people to do that stuff for us. So I think that their service has been just like a complete package for our brand. So
that's awesome. One-stop shop. Yeah, that's totally what we go for too. Well, we're glad that we can make life a little bit easier on that side of things. So I know, before we actually started formally chatting, you mentioned a little bit about, having worked with other agencies and other services. I'm curious to know, having worked with FBA Studio and all these other agencies, how has the FBA Studio stood out, and why is it that you guys continue to use the FBA Studio for your new launches, et cetera?
That's a great question. So, I mean, I truly believe in testing. So I know with you guys as well, you guys do testing on your guys' front, but I mean, it's good to know and compare like other services with what you currently have. You just never know what's out there as well. So we did venture out a couple times just to see what kind of work, we could come across. And there is an agency that also does, similar services to FBA Studio. A little bit more expensive, I would say, maybe like 3 to 5 times more than the pricing of FBA Studio. And we're like, hey, some brands are recommending this agency. Why not go ahead and see what they could do for us? So we did pay for like a specific service, not our entire listing. We had them do our A+ content. And, they did a similar process like with FBA Studio in terms of getting like the keywords or what we're ranking for, what we're trying to rank for, using the assets that we have. And of course, I assume that they would have, the proper knowledge to do a great job. And you know what? I'm not going to say they did a terrible job. Like, it does look great, I would say. But again, it all comes down to testing. So we went ahead and we did it through the Amazon experiments in the back end to see, whether the FBA Studio work would, help with conversions or if theirs would beat it. We did about 2 to 3 months in testing, and FBA Studios work actually reigned over theirs. And mind you, like I said, we paid like 3 to 5 times more than what we paid with FBA Studio. And yeah, like those were the results with the testing. So you can't say anything other than that. But we also tried another separate freelance contractor who actually helps us with our website, like CRO testing. And his work is great. So we love the designs. We love the things that he's created for us. And we said, hey, like, why don't we see if you can create some infographics for us, or maybe some images or whatever for our listing. And now he does a great job with our website. Again, I don't want to ever put down anyone's work. Like, they're fantastic. But when it comes to Amazon, there's just a specific strategy that you need to understand. And I wish I could articulate it, but I'm sure FBA Studio and Nikki can explain it a bit more. But there's just a specific way that you need to have infographics and Amazon style, if that's the right way to say it. And it just wasn't that. Like, it just didn't look like, something that if I was looking through an Amazon listing myself, I wouldn't be personally attracted to what they were creating for us. So yeah, and again, that was like maybe quite a bit, like a lot cheaper than what we paid with FBA Studio. But again, like, he just didn't have the knowledge with what should be on Amazon on a listing. So yeah, we keep on going back to FBA Studio because I feel like they just really know what they're doing. And we love their team. They communicate like so amazingly, pretty fast. And if we ever have any questions or concerns on what we get back, there's always, the communication back and forth to get things fixed. But yeah, we've had such a great experience. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's great to hear. I mean, it's definitely, we've seen it ourselves. Like, in our early days, we would hire generalist graphic designers and try to get them to, do infographics. And it's very niche. And that's why we focus, almost exclusively on Amazon, more so like carousels and A+ content. Like, our designers are specially trained for these assets because they're so unique. They're so, but
Ooh,
yeah.
also, I do want to say something real quick as well.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, like I mentioned before, I think we use like Fiverr people, or we're looking through Fiverr contractors and stuff like that. And I don't know how to say it like kindly, but there is like a specific like Fiverr abroad working look that we're also not trying to go for.
Yeah.
Like, when you're like going through a listing and you're like, okay, these guys are like, they don't have, if you're going through like Amazon listings, let's just say, you're like, this was like, these people don't have the proper grammar. It just looks
Yeah.
like I don't know how to say it without being rude, but it just didn't look professional. Like there's also
Right.
that part of contractors that we've seen or reached out to, and we're like, oh, maybe we don't want to use that type. And yeah, FBA Studio is not like that as well.
Yeah, I think I know the aesthetic that you're referring to. It's like where you're going through Amazon and you're like, okay, I think that's a supplier. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I'm glad that we don't. I'm glad that we were able to differentiate for you guys and stand out for the crowd and give you guys the unique look that Hashdash deserved. But okay, cool. Well, that's all awesome information. Thanks so much for your time, Clara. Before we wrap up, one last question for you. So, if for the brand operator that's out there and questioning whether they should go with FBA Studio or anybody else, what would you say to that brand operator in terms of your advice from a decision-making perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working with FBA Studio for 4 years, and I've come across many different types of people who run, design businesses or contractors or whatever. And the reason why we keep coming back is one, we love the people there. So Nikki honestly is amazing, and his team is great too. Like we love the people that we communicate back and forth with via email. Very, quick with responses, very open to suggestions and feedback. And to me, that's like very, very important. Like someone can be great at the design, but if like they're terrible at communication, it just like irks me. Like I do not like that. So that's the one thing we love their team. And second thing is the quality is amazing. Like every time that we come back with their work, it is very professionally done. We know that it's something that what people would actually enjoy looking at. And yeah, high quality work is also just as important as the communication and the team. And yeah, I think like those two things are pretty, important. And I would just honestly jump on in and use them. Like they've been such a great service for us, and I wouldn't really hesitate. Like basically just do it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for throwing the CTA in there for us, Clara. Well, thanks so much, Clara. Appreciate your time. I'm sure everybody else does who's wondering who the FBA Studio is. And yeah, until next time.
Cool. Thank you.